Hi, so I'm going to be talking to you today about how I use a filofax to cope with university. I'm a mature student and I'm in my second year. I have a husband, I have a family, I have a part-time job, and so for me, I need to use an A5 filofax because it enables me to write everything down, keep everything all together, and just live my life. Yes, it needs a big bag to carry it around in. Yes, it is heavy, but it works for me. So really today I'm only going to show you the sections that really relate to university, and for me that's sort of 2 and a bit sections probably. So I have a very simple diary section involving stickers, involving a very simple monthly view where I don't really put down masses of fine detail, but I just put down, where my husband is, any appointments, deadlines, football fixtures, ice hockey fixtures. So at a glance, I can see, can I work late? Can I sit in the library? Can I make a doctor's appointment? I can see the information at a glance. When the day has passed, I tend to just put a little very simple black line through it. And I can keep kind of looking ahead, so I've obviously got my exam dates in. And then from my sort of simple month, I then come into my week by week section. I don't really washi tape up my diary. I find that I'm really good at procrastinating, and if I was to washi tape up my diary, I'd probably spend 2 days a week doing it, which probably isn't great for studying. This was an insert I made myself because I couldn't really find anything that I particularly liked. I have just ordered a time management insert from Filofax for next year. I'm hoping that will do the job. So here's my current week. I use my today ruler for things that I'm sort of waiting for. So I'm waiting for some tickets to arrive. I have a small key, I suppose has come to you like a bulletin journal system, and any sort of things I need to do this week. So I need to do some work on my feedback project. So that's sort of right at the very top of my today planner. And that is my diary section. I don't tend to fill it out too much in advance of the weeks because I never really know exactly what's going to happen. And I have, if I have a potential appointment, I will put it down on a post-it note that if it gets confirmed, I will then write it in. I was asked if I would sit on an academic appeal for some fellow students, but actually I'm not needed for that anymore, so that's one thing I have saved some time on. So my main section is my university section, and in for this I have a simple A4 pull-out sheet that contains my weeks. And in here I log down when I've written the notes up, when I have done the reading, and when I have any assignments due. This is colour coded, as you'll see, as it sort of goes through the rest of the filofax. I also log down the exams and the assessments so that at a glance I know which exams are worth 40%, which exams are worth 60%, and also when they are. I'm going to sort of fold this right, there we go, so I can see for the next few weeks. A simple Ziploc wallet with some stickers in, bus timetable, potential study that I was potentially going to be asked to take part in, but I'm not frightened of spiders, so can't do it. And then my timetable, which, just bring that page out as well. So with my timetable, I come home, once I get my timetable, I then translate it back onto sort of grid paper. I colour code it again, and the colours on here correlate with the colours on here. And then I physically look at it and work out when I can afford to do additional study. I don't have lectures on a Wednesday and a Friday, so they're on my main days for sort of racking up my hours studying. I'm quite fortunate that my son plays football on a Sunday morning, and normally him and my husband go to an ice hockey game on a Sunday evening, and so I can kind of allocate some time to do some studying. Each sort of line on here represents half an hour. So this section here on Saturday, I think realistically between 10 and 12 I can fit in 2 hours worth of studying. And then I tend to log that on a sheet of paper. As I said earlier, I'm really good at procrastinating, really good at wasting time, finding anything to do other than studying, even ironing more than studying. So this semester I have started to just give myself a small log of the days of the week. The lines here mark how much studying according to this I can fit in. So a Saturday I've only got 4 squares, which represents 2 hours worth of studying. On a Sunday I've actually got 10 squares, because that represents potentially 5 hours of studying. And then I just log when I've actually done it. And at a glance I can see, because I'm beginning to think now about revision for exams, I can see that so far in November I've managed to do 2.5 hours work on developmental, an hour's work on social, and lots of time on stats and my cognitive psychology. And so I know that my social essay, my social exam, here, is worth 60%. And so far I've only spent an hour doing work on it. So I know that actually I really need to focus on my social knowledge so that I can pull that across for my exam. And this is working for me. So this will probably be something I continue to do next year and into my 3rd year. I'm also really good at getting library finds, and so this semester again I've tried not to take too many books out of the library for a start, and I've also tried to write down the due dates on them, and so if I renew it I can sort of cross it out and put the new date down, and this so far is helping me. I haven't got any fines this semester, and I can see now that I've got 2 books that are due in the 17th, which is next Monday. So I need to make sure that either at some point today, over the weekend, or last chance Monday, either take them back or I renew them. From here I then have 4 pages where I just have my individual modules. On a week-by-week basis I log the person who took the lecture. If there was a seminar, I log what the seminar was on and what the actual title of the lecture was about. So, you know, done sort of cognitive and obviously due dates. And then on the back of them, I've sort of got this calculation for working out how I need to do in my exam. So I've just had my first essay back this semester. I've got a pretty shocking mark. We're all pretty miffed about it. We've all done appallingly. We've all done at least 15% lower than we would do normally. And whereas I was aiming for 72% overall in this module, I now think I'm going to be lucky to scrape 65%. And to get 65%, I know that I need to do, well, 69, just over 69% in my exam. That's pretty difficult for me. I don't do well in exams. And I've worked this out using this sort of calculation here, which I'll just very briefly run through. So I take what I want for my overall mark. I take away what I've banked. So this essay was worth 40%. So if I divide this by 100, times it by 40, it means that I've already got 23.2% of my final grade for this module. So I take what I want and take away what I've already got, my banked, and then I divide that by the percentage of the exam. So in this case, exam's worth 60%, and then I multiply that by 100. So for me to get 72% overall, I'm going to need to pull in 81% in the exam. That's not going to happen, which is why I've downgraded it to 65. That's still tough, but that's doable if I get working. So then very briefly, I just have some things I need to focus on. I'm a course rep, so I have sort of course rep issues logged in here, and so know when I've sort of dealt with them. Meetings I've been to, details of the other course reps, more meetings, more concerns, and then I have a final section here which next year will relate to my dissertation project, and right now it just relates to the work I'm doing on a feedback project, in terms of hours I spent on it, and meetings and what I need to do. And that is pretty much how I use my filofax for university. So I might do the other sections at some other point, but I hope that's been useful.